talk to you.
Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the yard of streams for another edition of the Smackdown Breakdown presented by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off, and you can't have the Smackdown Breakdown without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Bro. Hiller.
What's popping? How we doing?
I'm doing okay. It's just one of those days, you know?
I get it. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
You go through those days.
Yes.
Is the weather like bad? And by bad, it could be like hot bad.
Yeah. It's 103.
Okay, that's just ridiculous.
I mean, that's not that bad, but
For
you know,
these
it's nearly October, so but this is how it is. We usually are in the hundreds until October. So sometimes November. That's why I friggin' hate it here, because I'm like, oh, fall? I don't know her.
How badly do you miss foliage?
A lot.
A
lot. Very
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
That's
It was my favorite season. So, and I lived in two really good places for it. Massachusetts was really pretty in the fall, and then so was Washington. Washington was pretty because there were so many trees.
Yeah, I would agree. I could see that as someone
Yeah.
who's not gone there, and if someone told me that, I could absolutely see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good places. And then
and now we live here where leaves don't really turn colors. So
yeah, we are supposed to be having a hurricane right now, and it's just cold and windy.
jelly.
That's really it. It's just a little chilly. That's why I got my long sleeve on.
I'm jelly.
I don't have my black tank top on, but because it is a little cold, I didn't have that luxury to be inside and whatnot. Which black tank tops, black shirts. So I think it's a good way to segue into SmackDown, because SmackDown high key may have been probably the best SmackDown in a very, very long time. Just who's right?
I think the beginning was great. I wouldn't say the entire show was top notch, but I think mostly because of what happened at the beginning is why you think that it was great.
No, I think star power. So I know I truly believe last night, like, things are starting to connect, man. This WWE is so smart. They are just. I saw something on Twitter, and I went down a rabbit hole of thought, where if you really think about it and look at it, WWE programming right now is centered around Roman Reigns. Every little storyline, nook, whatever, has a little, like, are connected to each other in different ways. And we're seeing that with, these different weird alliances, people popping up, and how, in different segments. It's fascinating. It's so nice to see, because before it felt very boring in that you were just watching to watch.
Well, I think they have to do that because he's gone. So they have to make sure that they're still being like, hey, remember Roman Reigns? Like, he's still the champion. Remember that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going to be off for like 6 months. But like, that's the thing that's like frustrating still to me. Because, and like I said, maybe it's a controversial opinion, but it feels like a lot more people are feeling that way, that his title reign obviously is legendary. It's impressive. It's the best of the modern era. But the more time he takes off, the less impressive it's becoming. Because if you're gone for months at a time, that means you're not defending your title, which is like, okay, that any champion could do that. Any champion could be champion for a long time if you're gone for months at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I see what you mean.
So, because then I saw someone on Twitter that was like, well, Roman actually averages defending his title every 39 days. And for context, Brock was doing it every 63 days. And I'm like, that's like comparing, this was my thought, NFL thought, right? That's like saying Patrick Mahomes is better than Tom Brady. Like, you can't, and I'm not saying, I'm saying like the length of
no.
you
know,
know,
I know, yeah.
like,
I get you. I'm with
how
you.
long Brock Lesnar was champion is nowhere near how long Roman's been champion. And you're including when he was around for the first like good year or so where he was defending the title like every month. You're talking about like the last 2 years. Dude's off like for 6 weeks and then he's back and then he's gone again for 2 months. Like, at this point, are we supposed to be impressed that he's gonna possibly have the title for like 4 years? It's like, yeah, and you probably were gone for a year and a half of it. Like, I don't know. That's just because
I got a question for you.
be a defending champion.
Because it goes along the lines of champion. Is that, do we think that they've hyped up Roman and made him, excuse me, this godly out of this world figure, that it's overshadowed the championship in itself?
Yeah,
Because
I
he can't
think.
defend against anybody. You know he's gonna, because it makes no sense for anybody to beat him.
Well, and that's but the thing is though, is like, that would feel more legitimate if I think if he was actually active and like actually defending the title or in matches like consistently. He not even necessarily does he have to be on SmackDown every single week. He doesn't necessarily have to be defending it, the way Gunther does. But it's like, I don't understand how he'll be on like 3 of 12 pay-per-views. Like, are we serious? Like, I just don't, I don't get it. And I think that they kind of did screw themselves because he does deserve to have this title reign feel significant, because it is. They don't just let anybody, obviously, be a champion for this long. I mean, that was why when CM Punk was champion for, a year, it was like a huge deal because they didn't really do that.
No, they didn't do that type of stuff.
Yeah. And so, like, obviously it is impressive that he's been champion for like 3 years, whatever. But it starts to become less impressive when then you're chilling on the couch, chilling, on the beach, doing
Chilling
whatever.
out, relaxing, all cool.
Because, I mean, even if you don't think that he's going to lose, at least it's a title defense, know? Because that's how it is with Gunther. You knew that they were going to probably have him become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, but that didn't stop people from getting excited to see him face Gable or face whoever. It's like you were still like, oh yeah, no, he's a fighting champion. He defends it like on Raw, on pay-per-views, whatever. Roman doesn't even defend it on pay-per-views. Like,
because the Bloodline story has over-dominated the WWE Championship. That is where we're at right now.
I just think, they need to do something, because the fact that he's not going to be back until even November.
Yeah, and not even in America.
It's just like, so which means, like, again, like, okay, so does that mean that he's not going to be back then? Like, is that just his first match because they have to schedule him? He's the champion and it's overseas. So when will he actually be back on SmackDown?
They say he's going to build up. He will be building up the eventual match he's going to have with AJ Styles. So he'll be back to promote that.
That's what the filler match is going to be. We're going to talk about later. But like,
oh,
I also think
he's allegedly supposed to be feuding with AJ Styles too.
I know, so that's why I'm saying the tag match is a filler until he comes back, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But the thing too is now I don't remember what I was gonna say. I don't remember. But anyway, let's just get into it because I don't remember what I was gonna say. Okay, so we started off the show with Pat McAfee, who we assumed might be on the show because he was hosting his show in Colorado and was about an hour away from where Smackdown was going to be taped. So it was like, oh, okay. So it was funny when his music hit, you could tell that people were like, who is this?
Yeah, people forgot a little bit.
Because it was like, hey. And then it was like, let's go. And then I was like, oh, people were like, oh, wow, okay. So he just basically comes out and welcomes people to SmackDown and is just like, yeah, it's just what in town or whatever. And it was like, okay, cool. The person that seemed the most excited about this was Michael Cole. So that was
his best friend's back.
Yeah, his bestie. So of course Austin Theory comes out because they have a history together, and they had matching outfits, which was so cute. It was like, oh,
it was adorable.
Matching outfits. They like
it was really adorable.
Yeah. So Theory, of course, is not excited to see Pat McAfee, and he let him know, hey, this actually isn't SmackDown. This is Austin Theory Live. Okay.
Yeah,
so
right.
They just go on and exchange insults. Like Pat says he's copying his look. Theory says that he actually looks like a Greek god when he wears a black tank top, but Pat looks like he should be cooking fries. And I was like, I mean, it's not wrong. And then he eventually says that this is the people's show, and you know what that means.
As soon as he said that, I'm not kidding.
You just
Sarah.
knew.
As soon as, my ears perked up so high. I was like, wait a minute, that's a telltale sign. And when his music hit, what?
Well, I was just gonna keep going.
Oh, good, keep going. Yeah.
Hello. Oh, I was just gonna say. Then you hear "If You Smell," and then it's like I started to sing the song in my head. That.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, you were delayed. I didn't know if can
delayed?
you actually hear me?
Oh, jeez. Oh, I hope that's not. Oh, we're good. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, hold on. I have to come back.
All right. Well, Sarah figures out her stuff, and we figure out if you can the peeps hear me? That's a question. Can the peeps hear the champ right now? Because that would help in our audio issues. Oh, here we go. Add to the stage, Sarah Marshall.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, hi. Okay. So The Rock comes out and soaks it in for about like 5 minutes. He did the Undertaker impersonation and was like took forever to get to the ring, but it was okay because he's been gone for whatever, a very long time. And I like that he was like pointing to the people up in the boonies. I was like, I hope if you're at Mania, you do that for me and Pat, because that's where we're going.
That's where we'll be there.
Right there for you. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. And we get finally, The Rock has come back to Denver.
I said Colorado when I was doing it with him.
I really enjoyed this whole segment. Okay. Like, not just because it was The Rock, but oh my gosh, I was like kind of fangirling for Theory, if we're being honest, because come on now. Come on. So Theory says that he should try it. And he's kind of trying to finally, and the crowd is just like, no, bro. Who do you think you are? And then he goes on to say that he is the better Austin. Who cares about Stone Cold Steve Austin? That guy is like irrelevant, whatever. The Rock starts to say, well, The Rock says, and he says, it doesn't matter what The Rock says. And I was like, you know what?
It's always great. It's always great when they get him. It's always great when they get him.
It is. But I like that they let Theory be like that. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if this were an interaction between The Rock and Grayson Waller, like that, I would expect that from Waller. Yeah. And so I think that it was nice that we got to see that from Theory, because I wasn't expecting him to be able to like throw the fire at him too and like do that. So I liked that. The Rock says, yes, it does matter what he has to say. And then he imitates Stone Cold, which I thought was funny because he throws in jabroni. And I was like, Stone Cold would not say jabroni, but that's okay. He then starts testing the FCC and has half of the crowd chant "you are" and the other half chant "an asshole." So it was about like 3 minutes or so of just utter silence.
I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear a thing. Yeah. I did not hear a thing for a good 2-3 minutes. It was peaceful.
So then he guarantees that he will beat Theory's candy ass. Then Theory attacks him, but Rock hits him with the spine buster, then the people's elbow, which then he is encouraged by The Rock, or Pat is encouraged by The Rock to do it as well. So I can't imagine what that felt like for Pat too. You know, for someone who grew up a wrestling fan.
It's a dream. That is
Yeah.
a dream come true.
Mm-hmm.
We did miss this part.
Oh yeah.
When Theory was going off, doing his little jibber jabber, and The Rock saying, "Shut your bitch ass up."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's gonna be a meme seen so many times tomorrow.
It already is. It already is. Mm-hmm.
It's just the man knows how to go viral.
Like that viral tweet of the guy saying like only people who live at home and don't pay rent or whatever like watch wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, like there were people who were quote tweeting it or responding to it with the shut your bitch ass up. That was what they were responding. Or the infamous clip of The Rock from, the Attitude Era being like, "Shut up, bitch." They used that one too. I've had someone send that to me and I was like,
wow.
I know. I was like, that was rude.
That was pretty rude.
So what I mean, other than the fact that this was completely unexpected and entertaining, one of the bigger takeaways I would say is that Austin Theory got the ultimate rub from The Rock. So what do you think of that? Like does this say how The Rock feels about him? Is this them kind of like trying to put more heat on Theory? Like, what are they doing? Why did they have him of all people get involved?
The Rock, it was, I honestly believe it was because of him being on McAfee. McAfee was there. He hasn't been. And him mentioning the whole Roman, WrestleMania 39, potentially a 40 thing. I said before, nothing in wrestling is accidental. So there's definitely a reason why he mentioned it right then and there. And if he was going to be on Smackdown anyways, what's the easiest way to get him Uber over with the crowd to get them fired up for the rest of the show? And it's go after the worst heel. And by worst, I mean just the one who's going to get heat no matter what. Theory is that guy right now. And he's just kind of a punching bag. I kind of relate him to the Heath Slater when every legend was going after him. But the difference with that is with Heath Slater, it was just for TV time and, he's a little bit older, so get him that push. This is a little different. Since Theory's not a baby face, you can't just do what Cena's been doing with LA Knight and Cody Rhodes, where you hold up his hand at the top of the entrance ramp, you flash the Triple H pointer at him, symbolizes to the crowd that he's the next guy. He's got my endorsement. With heels, it's the complete opposite. The way you're doing it is you got to bury them. You got to let them do their heel work, really play the bad guy role. And how well do they play the bad guy role? And that's what Theory's doing right now, is they're giving him the opportunity to do that bad guy role and do it the way he wants to. I mean, the comments he did last night, that, it doesn't matter what you think, and calling it his show and all, like, those are classic heel things that you need to lean into to truly embrace that villain role. And he's doing a good job of it, where at first a lot of people didn't know if he could do it so organically.
I don't think he's doing that great of a job, but that's okay. I thought he did a great job last night.
He's being a snot,
but I do think that there needs to be some sort of change for him, because I mean, even again, was it him that mentioned it or commentary that mentioned how he beat John Cena? I'm just like, guys, like, is it going to be 6 years from now and we're still talking about how he beat John Cena, like a 45-year-old John Cena?
It's just like,
yeah, because he's not been around. Stop. But it's like, I would like to see them do something, but I do think that this was a really good showing for Theory, and especially to hold your own against a guy like The Rock. I mean, that's not easy to do. And he took it like a champ too. I mean, like he laid there longer than he needed to as well, because then I'm sure he didn't know that Pat was gonna, get the okay to do the people's elbow. And then also Rock took his shoe and threw it in the crowd. So he even lost his shoe. So yeah, I think that this means something. I'm just not sure what it means. But I guess maybe time will tell. I don't know. We'll have to see.
There's something there.
What ends up happening. And then what?
I would agree.
Oh, okay. And then right afterwards, we get AJ Styles versus Finn Balor.
This is what I mean, Sarah. This is what I mean with best SmackDown. It's just every segment led into a big name right now, or a popular name right now. It just didn't seem like there was any filler.
Mm-hmm.
And this is definitely, like, you could put this in the main event. Like this, I thought when I started advertised that it was going to be the main event.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it could have been for sure. And so obviously it was a great match. They're both legendary in their own right. So I feel like it's pretty cool when we get to see them actually go against each other, because we know how connected they have been over the years. Like when Finn was in Japan and then he was leaving to go to NXT, it's when AJ Styles was like heading to Japan, and then he was coming to WWE when Finn was going to the main roster. So it's like they've crossed paths but like just missed each other. So I obviously enjoyed this, and we did see Judgment Day interfere. We saw Damian and Dom get into this match, but the more interesting part about it, of course, was Jimmy Uso coming out, and he interfered to help Judgment Day. So Finn was able to take advantage of the distraction basically by Jimmy and was able to win. So it's like, what is going on here? Because we know that Finn and the other guys in Judgment Day were trying to recruit Jay to the Judgment Day. And then we see Finn backstage, which I swear to God, he's just trying to like make Jimmy or Jay laugh. Because the clip I sent you of when he was like,
the faces he's making. Yeah.
Because then when he comes back when they're showing Jimmy just like pacing backstage, Finn comes up and he was like, "Thanks for the assist, dog, my dog." And I'm like, you're trying to make him laugh, and I'm here for it, because I'm like, they saw how Sammy barely had to do anything and got them to laugh. So I was like, Finn is trying really hard right now.
Oh yeah, trying to get Jay to pop.
Yeah, and I loved that. So he thanks Jimmy for helping him in the match, and Jimmy says, "Okay, well, I was just returning the favor for what you guys did last week." And Finn said, "Hey, I was just talking to your brother on Monday, and I'm sure you probably miss him. Like I miss my brothers." And since Jay technically didn't say no to joining the Judgment Day, he then tries to convince Jimmy that he should join the Judgment Day, and maybe they could both be in the group together. And Jimmy's just like, "Oh no, I'm cool, whatever." And then Finn's like, no, I'm gonna try to sell you even harder. Okay, there are no leaders in the Judgment Day, and you know what that means? That means no Roman. And then Jimmy is like, And then he just like, Finn is like, "Okay, whatever, bye." And then Paul just like creepishly shows up out of nowhere in the back.
Beforehand, did you see? Yeah. Okay.
But he's just like pops up and it's just like, and it's like, what is going on? So I find all of this very intriguing because of what it could all become eventually. The Judgment Day versus the Bloodline. What if Jimmy and Jay join Judgment Day? You know what I mean? There's so many.
What if Judgment Day are the real puppet masters behind the whole scheme? Maybe Paul Heyman is the real leader of Judgment Day.
That would be crazy. That would
be a wild twist.
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not what it is, but it would be.
Oh, that would be. My mind just exploded. That Paul Heyman is not the tribal whatever, but he's the ringleader of Judgment Day. and he's been toying with bloodline, all that.
Well,
you go.
I mean, well, obviously he has to be the wise man. They've been around for over 2 years longer than Judgment Day. But I wouldn't be surprised if if you want to go off of the hypothetical, it wouldn't be surprising if he did get involved with the Judgment Day to try and get them to help break up the bloodline and maybe bring it back to being just Roman because he felt like the Usos were a distraction, or maybe he just wanted it to be solo, him and Roman. I don't know.
And that's why he's aligning the bloodline right now with them.
Maybe.
So they can form the cracks from within. Like, this is why wrestling, WWE, more importantly, is at its peak right now. You were not going to find this type of stuff years ago with the old regime. It's a better product. It's so much better. Like, you have little Easter eggs like this where you have to watch, and you have to watch SmackDown now to see these types of things unfold.
Well, because like we've said so many times that these types of things aren't happening on accident. So usually it will eventually mean that something will come of it, whether it's a week from now or a month from now. Like, it seems like, okay, wait, so when something happens in the future, you're like, wait, remember when this happened? So it's possible, but it's what I think is the most interesting is how much the Judgment Day is like working to try and recruit the Usos. I think that is what makes you kind of think about what is actually happening. Like, what is the hidden meaning behind this? Because I mean, why they don't need anybody else in the Judgment Day? You know, I mean, you barely even have JD McDonough.
I was just about to say, he's begging to join.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, we'll waitlist you.
Yeah, you're chasing the guys that probably don't ever want to be in the Judgment Day. So that's why I'm like, I'm curious to see where this leads, because I mean, it could also be when we talked about the Survivor Series thing, maybe one of the teams would have Judgment Day on their team.
We did like a Super War Games where we had two teams.
Yeah, so Jimmy and Jay, Team Jimmy, Team Jay, and then Jimmy or Jay has Judgment Day on their team.
Oh, man. Yeah, like the Bloodline run WWE right now. If we're doing that, yeah.
Or Judgment Day run WWE.
Well, I mean, yeah, tomato, potato. Yeah.
So we didn't get the last of The Rock at the beginning. This, it was very quick, but I feel like it was
awesome.
Important to talk about, I guess. So we see Pat and The Rock are just chit-chatting backstage, as everybody does in a dark backstage area. Yeah. And Cena shows up and they kind of just stare at each other for a bit. And this is when I'm like, when The Rock is just like, they're standing there, and then he was like, Cena's about to say something, and Rock is like, I could tell that you're trying not to smile. And it's like, just ruins the moment for Cena. Mm-hmm. And Cena just puts his hands out and just is like, welcome home. And then they start making out. No, I'm just kidding. Then they hug. And then they embrace. And
it was a nice hug. It was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, because really nice. I think someone said that they haven't been on television together, like on WWE television together, since 2011. And we all know what time that was. So this was a pretty big moment. Because
was that their last match at Mania?
Mm-hmm.
That was 2011.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy, huh? So.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
Back. We're back.
So it was like a coming of the world, It was like, aww.
It was nice. It was really nice. I like this moment. To me, this felt like a very important SmackDown, and those two guys being there, hugging it out, they're making that moment happen.
Well, and I think you had to, because everyone knew that Cena was going to be there, and you didn't know that The Rock was going to, but then when he shows up and he's there on the same night that John Cena is there, you have to have them have some sort of interaction. Mm-hmm. And obviously it's been a long time since they hated each other. Yeah. So, I mean, and at the end, The Rock kind of did like pass the torch to Cena, obviously, because Cena won the second match. So you would assume that like most of their troubles are in the past. Plus, Cena has basically become The Rock. You know, like everything he hated about The Rock, he's now become. But the difference is The Rock left at like his prime in WWE to go to do movies. Cena didn't. Cena was around for, I don't know, what was it, like 17 straight years before he decided to like actually start taking
full time.
Yeah. So, but it is kind of funny to like look back during those times where they were feuding and just Cena being like, he wanted to be a movie star and be in Hollywood and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look at what you became, Cena. Look at what you became.
You live long enough to see yourself. You die, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yes. So, is there any comments?
There are some comments I would like to get to, actually. Thank you. David can hear us from that whole stuff. King of Rays is here. The FCC ruined the asshole chance. I know, that was so sad. Theory definitely held his own. We did say that. Micah, what a goddamn Smackdown. It was a goddamn Smackdown. Couldn't agree more. Don't denying Theory has a lot of potential, but I also think this was a way to help Theory with his promo work and give him more confidence with his promo work, which is something he needs help with. He absolutely does.
I think it's just the believability factor of how he talks. I think there's just some people who don't speak convincingly, and that's just how they talk all the time. You know, like there's just some people who don't sound believable when you're listening to them. But that's why I feel like I would be interested to see Theory as a babyface, because he does seem like just a naturally nice guy. So like you don't have to worry about being as convincing, because you're not trying to convince us you're a bad guy. You're not trying to convince us you're an asshole. You know, like you're this cocky dude. It's like, no, I'm just a nice guy. I'm just Mr. like Austin Theory, superhero guy. You know, like that's who I feel like he would be pretty good at. But
we need Batista. No, we don't. No,
what I was thinking is, what if Batista is like one of the headliners for the Hall of Fame? Oh my God, when we're there.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That's different. Yeah, that is a different conversation.
I don't know if I don't think I've seen Batista. I think when I used to go to shows, it was like during that time where he was like popping in and then popping out. So it's like, I don't think I've seen him, but I would love to pull in Xavier Woods and just start belting his song at the top of my lungs.
Walk alone. I was a wee lad once, and when I was younger, I had like a wicked fear of loud noises.
Oh.
And it was like something to do with my ears. I had surgery on it, but then after I had the surgery,
did you get tubes in your ears?
I had the permanent tubes.
Yeah, see, I had tubes in my ears, and then I think that something happened, and then I had to get them taken out.
Yeah, wait, they were supposed to fall out, but didn't?
No, I think they were supposed. Like I was supposed to have them in, and then they took them out. I don't remember. I don't know.
Okay, well, yeah, similar thing. And after I got it, I was fine, but before it, I went and to do a show with Batista on it, and I told, so this is how weird I am. I knew when Batista was going to come out. Like I had the foresight to know when he was going to come out, but during the whatever. So I asked my friend's mom to take me to the bathroom as soon as like he was about. So I would be in the bathroom for his pyro, so I wouldn't hear it, and then I would go back. And then another, so that I would
try to pay attention for when Kane was coming out, because when they were having him do the fire around the ring, so you would see them like set them up on the turnbuckles, because him and Big Show at one point, you got no warning. It was like pyro, and then their music went off, and it always pissed me off because it scared the shit out of me every time. And I'm one of those people that when I get scared, I like get mad because I don't like to be scared. So when I'm just sitting there enjoying, like knowing it's a commercial break, and then it's just like boom, and I was like, it's just like, this is not fun. This is not what I paid for.
I want to be scared.
Yeah, but at least with Batista, like you get like a warning because his music goes off first,
Yeah, and then he hits the little stance, the leg,
then he does the machine gun. Yeah.
Machine gun Batista. 10 out of 10 Smackdown for Rock appearance alone. I mean, I feel a lot of people would say that. Shout out to my boy Patty Pitts and Sarah Marshall. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Super chats are live.
Oh my God.
So that's where we're at. in the climb to making this a full-time job, because I really don't. I like my job, but getting up at 4 a.m. is kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Theory is great in the ring. His promo work falls flat often than not, so I think this is a way to help their confidence. I think I read that comment already. There are no leaders in Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley clears her throat.
That was my thought too. I was like, Rhea owns you guys. Come on now.
And then okay, what's up with Bernard? What if WWE finally planting the seeds of a Roman Reigns face turn and the Usos and Solo go against Roman? Jimmy may try to get back in the bloodline to convince Solo to open his eyes and betray Roman.
I feel, I mean,
maybe.
I think that Roman is going to obviously not be a bad guy forever, but I feel like he can't change things while he's champion. Mm-hmm. I feel like they've done too much to make him so hated, and he's done such a good job that they can't do a turn while he's champion.
You can't do it right now. I agree.
No. He has too many enemies that are not just going to forget, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, I think eventually, but not while he's champion.
No. We won't see a face turn for a few years.
Well, and he shouldn't, because he's really good at being a heel. So
he's so good at being a heel.
Yeah, he's not one that, I mean, we'll still have to see how he is as a babyface, but it's almost like I almost never want to see that. Yeah. Because he's so good at being a bad guy.
He's out of the table. All right. Well, what do we got next, Sarah?
Then we have Santos Escobar challenging Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. So the LWO is in the ring when they come back from the commercial. Basically, everyone is just hyping up Rey, including Rey himself. And then Santos gets on the mic and is like, oh my God, like, it's always been a dream of mine to face Rey for a title. And I'm like, isn't that convenient? Like,
it's not convenient.
Yeah. And Rey is just like, oh my gosh, we are familia and I love you. So yes. And I was like, this is like, when you want to talk about someone who's not going on the mic, you look at Rey Mysterio. Okay. But other than this being so pointless, because like, why are you guys in the ring to just have this conversation?
It was really bizarre. I don't know what it is. I love the LWO, but every time they come out, it does feel very forced.
It feels corny, kind of.
Yeah.
But did you see the Easter egg? The potential Easter egg?
Okay, let me get a guess, at least.
All right.
Wait, before they...
No, it's during this.
During this? No, I do not know. I thought I had a guess, but no.
Santos was the only one in a suit.
Oh, yeah.
And do you remember Legado del Fantasma? Remember they all used to wear suits?
Oh.
Are we going to get a Santos heel turn that we've been talking about for a while? Is he going to turn on Rey? He's going to turn on Rey. It's going to be like, you took that opportunity away from me. You stepped in because you wanted the title. That was my title. You know. That's... Ooh. I don't know. I just noticed the suit because I was like, why is this man in like a full suit and tie right now? I don't understand.
They had a match.
Yeah, but Rey didn't.
Why? Rey never wears a suit and tie.
Yes, he does. But still, why are you not in like just an LWO t-shirt? Like, you don't need to be in a suit and tie. So I'm just saying it might not mean anything, but I still think it might mean something. It just was an interesting choice of attire that I feel like...
No, I am with you. Yeah.
I feel like it just wasn't an accident, you know? So, then the Suit Profits interrupt, and I love Bobby being like, oh, it looks like, you know, tag teams have been falling apart left and right, and they try to make things better, you know, and now they're just in the ring having this awkward love fest. And I was like, seriously, though.
Thank you, Bobby. Real. Thank you for speaking what's on the peeps' mind.
I know. I was like, yeah, because that's how it felt. And then he said, well, the next match, because of that, the next match is going to be easier than I imagined. So it was like, oh, okay. So the LWO versus the Suit Profits. So we see Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde versus the Suit Profits. And I mean, there was nothing really to this match. Okay. It was it was like a squash essentially. And post-match, Bobby tells the Street Profits to attack the LWO. Ray and Santos come in to try and save the whole shenanigans, and Bobby is like, no, Santos, and he attacks him from behind. Montez grabs Ray, and just Bobby is like, boop, and then it was like, we are victorious, we are the Street Profits, and it was like, okay. But this is where I'm like, I don't know. I've been saying this for a while, and I'm just very confused about what they're trying to do with the Street Profits. Because I don't know if they're trying to make them good guys. I don't know if they're trying to make them bad guys. I don't know if they're just trying to do the in-between. I don't know. I am so confused because they're attacking people that people hate. They're attacking people that people love. They're attacking people that no one gives a fuck about. So I'm just like, I don't know what we're doing here because I don't know how are people supposed to respond? You know, like that's the thing that I question because the LWO is fine. I'm not like, a fan that's gonna buy a t-shirt, but they're entertaining, even if they were kind of annoying and awkward love festing on TV. But a lot of people love them. So you were like, okay, so we're supposed to boo the Street Profits attacking them. But people don't hate the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. So that's why I'm like, I don't know what I can't figure it out.
Just trying to be making them more aggressive and when by legit I mean serious. For a while the Street Profits were all about having fun. They were very talented in the ring, and your uppity guys who are crowd favorites vying for the title get that title win so you can be champions and then have a legitimate reign. Now it's more about being those pretty much stone cold killers in the ring. That's what Bobby Lashley's there for, is that mentorship like a Hurt Business.
Yeah.
Where the Hurt Business can be loved and they're technically heels. So I see it also as a way, too, for Angelo Dawkins to get the spotlight. If you notice, Montez didn't speak during that little exchange. When he did, that's when he was cut off. And the LW was like, I get in the ring, Becky, like all this. And Montez didn't get a word in, where Angelo was the one who started things off. That's where they got to go with this. It felt like the Street Profits were more Montez Fords coming out. The Street Profits need to be where Angelo Dawkins starts to break out.
Yeah, I think it might also just be like, they seem to be more open to having people like teeter the line, like LA Knight, where it's like, yeah, now I guess internally they have him like listed as a baby face, but he's still got that edge to him that is like I said, the main person that I think about that is like a prime example of that is Stone Cold Steve Austin, where it just like depended on the week if you loved him or you hated him. Even when you were supposed to hate him, you still loved him. So I feel like they might be even trying to do something like that with the Street Profits because they're really loved. So it's difficult. And Bobby Lashley too,
Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
And then we see LA Knight versus The Miz, and it was a great match because it was a solid win for LA Knight. It was exactly what he needed to kind of like put the lid on this feud, because there was no interference, there was no distraction from like a special referee, whatever. So okay, we're finally done with LA Knight versus The Miz. That's wonderful. The main part was what happened afterwards, where he gets on the mic and he first of all soaks it all in because the crowd loves them some LA Knight.
Oh, they love him.
And he gets on the mic and he says, since he was brought to Smackdown, that he has been coming for the gold. And he says it doesn't matter if it's Rey Mysterio, it doesn't matter if it's Gunther, it doesn't matter if it's Seth Rollins, and it sure as hell doesn't matter if it's Roman Reigns. And then everybody just like took a gasp because it was like, oh my god, does this mean it could happen?
The tribal chief? Did he do it?
So he says it's not just a catchphrase. He is the top two, and he ain't number two because it is LA Knight's game. Yeah. And so, most people were taking this and running away with the fact that he called out Roman Reigns, right? Even though he called out all these...
Yeah, they're going to.
But even though he called out these other people, but the thing is like what we said last week, that interaction between him and Paul Heyman, plus Solo and Paul were watching backstage.
That was brilliant.
They show them watching backstage, and Solo says that he wants to take care of LA Knight, and Paul is like, no, we only follow orders from Roman.
We follow orders from the tribal chief.
Right. So it's like, okay, see, this stuff is not an accident. And I like it because, I was just saying earlier, like at the start of the show, that Roman's reign is kind of getting boring or like not as impressive. But at least with this, it's like, it kind of gets you a little bit more excited for when he does come back, because there are other people that are kind of being thrown into the possibilities of facing him. And it's not just going to be Roman dealing with the bloodline stuff and then kind of just getting away with not defending the title because he's in another tag match with Solo, so it's like, this is kind of cool because it has other people getting involved, and it's not like the typical people, where you would think it would just be the same, like AJ Styles or something on SmackDown. It's like, okay, cool. No, we're getting LA Knight. And obviously, I don't know when that's going to happen. It might not even happen anytime soon, especially, there are a lot of people who feel like before he goes for that title, he needs to have like a mid-card title. I don't know if that's going to happen because he might be past that point. But
no, I think he gave a ladder to himself. I think he gave us a little bit of a hint of what he's eyeing, what his goals are, and whatnot. Where he may not dethrone Gunther, but he's going to become an Intercontinental Champion before he becomes the WWE Champion.
Yeah, or United States, because Gunther's on Raw. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So again, just it doesn't seem like an accident, but it's very exciting for all of those people that are big LA Knight fans, obviously, because this was the first time that we actually got him talking about like going for a title.
Yeah.
We've all kind of talked about how he needs to, but we haven't gotten any sign of that. So that was pretty cool. And then I had to watch this thing like 3 times. Can I get a yes, boy, for Pretty Deadly?
Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy!
Boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy!
So, okay, if you, I'm so obsessed with this. I'm jumbling my words because I love them so much. So we see them roll in to Adam Pearce.
See me rolling.
Roll into Adam Pearce's office, and they're both looking fabulous, by the way, in their sheer black tops that are bedazzled also. And we did see that Elton has a bedazzled sling. And Adam Pearce is like, oh, well, the medical has been, talking to us and whatever. And they said that your shoulder is healing. So you guys are going to be back in the ring in no time. And then Elton just has like an emotional breakdown.
Like, absolute mental breakdown.
But like,
I just think of Rich Holland all the time.
And it's like having PTSD about what happened to him from Rich, talking about how he's a shadow of a man of what he used to be. And I was just like, you guys are, I'm just like, and then Pierce makes it better because he's like, oh, well, it's okay. Like, I don't know what that was. I don't know what you just said, but medical says that you'll be back in the ring soon. And he's like, and why are you in a wheelchair?
The audacity!
Yeah, the audacity!
That was like, my favorite line.
It's your shoulder, right?
Because he's such a good friend.
Yeah,
is that he's like, he goes right to his buddy. He's like, "Why are you in a wheelchair?" He sticks up the audacity. Right to him. Like,
how dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you question him?
Oh my god, I laughed so hard when he said that.
It's great. So then Kit is like, you know what? It's okay with the proper training regimen. You are going to be back to your old self in no time. And then he's like, and give it to me. Give me a yes, boy. And Elton gets all worked up. And then he's like, yes, boy. And I was like, yeah. I was so excited.
And they just roll out like,
yeah, like
they're so entertaining. Oh, they're so hilarious. That's wrestling. Tag team wrestling so back.
I really don't understand how people don't like them. Like, I don't. I don't get it. Because as I've said, they're a comedic act, but they're good in the ring. So it's like the best of both worlds. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like their gimmick or the main thing that I see that people complain about is their gear, which I just think is so ridiculous, because you would have no problem with their gear if they took their sleeves off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Steve Austin wore tighty whiteys.
I know, but for some
blackies.
reason they have an issue with them wearing like lacy sleeves, and I'm just like, you guys, like I said before, you are a grown man sitting at home on a couch watching half-naked men fake fight. Like, you can't talk about
you gotta
their
know.
outfits.
You gotta know when to hold them.
Yeah, you just
know when to fold them. Like, literally, yeah. Kenny Rogers said it best. Man.
Yeah, you need to calm down, as Taylor Swift said. So, yes, I'm very excited to see when they're back, and I'm kind of like, uh-oh, my Smackdown is next week. And so far, I'm not going because I can't find any like decent tickets. Oh my gosh, there are tickets that are right on the ramp, and I have never sat on the ramp.
Oh,
okay,
it's fun.
I know, and I've never sat there, and I would be right next to the ramp, so like I could touch their hand, right? Fucking $570, dude, because Ticketmaster is reselling, so you can resell tickets on Ticketmaster. So these are 2 tickets that are being resold for $570 each. Okay, Ticketmaster just released the entire row ahead of them to buy, like, you know, like their legitimate seats, not resellers, and they were for like, I think $325, which is like pretty ridiculous because I used to get front row for Raw for like $400, but whatever.
Wow. Yeah.
But times have changed, and but I'm like, they're literally a row ahead, and they're like $200 or $300 cheaper. Like, it's insane. So yeah. But then we see Asuka versus Bayley, which was pretty cool. I would say this was a really good match. Actually, probably one of their better matches in recent history for the two of them, because we don't get to see the two of them together very often. But we did see the distractions of Shotzi, which is what basically led to Asuka winning. But again, I'm so confused. Like, one part I'm confused about because I don't really understand what is going on with Shotzi and Bayley at this point, because I just don't I don't understand what the end game is. You know what I mean? It's like they don't really have heat, because it's mostly Bayley just being scared of her. So it's like, okay, they haven't done anything with Shotzi basically since they had her do that like Joker video, which is so disappointing, because basically since then it's like she just is like popping out of nowhere and it's like ha 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 ha, and that's it. But it's like that's it. There's just nothing else. And then the same thing is, then she gets in the ring and tries to like fist bump Asuka, but I'm like, Asuka's supposed to be a bad guy too. Like, it's just like, but so is Damage Control. I'm just like, I'm trying to get into this Triple H mindset where maybe there aren't clear cut like bad guys, good guys, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's hard to follow. I think because you get so used to, like, I mean, obviously in any sort of story, that's how it is. So there's a protagonist and an antagonist, and obviously that's how wrestling is. And so then when you're starting to kind of just mush it together, I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to react to this. Like, do I cheer for Bayley? Do I cheer for Asuka? What am I supposed to do? I'm very confused.
I'm not. I mean, I'm on the side of Damage Control in this, because Shotzi, if she was popping up out of nowhere, would be making me shit my pants. So.
Yeah.
I empathize with Bayley. This poor girl is getting terrorized.
Yes,
it's so sad.
So I do think that we know Asuka versus Io Sky will be happening next week for the title, and there was a lot of pressure on Bayley from Dakota Kai to win this match, especially before Io comes back. So I'm wondering if this is going to play any sort of factor in that. I don't know how it could, but it seems, again, that was a backstage segment that we were meant to see, and then we see Shotzi get involved to help make sure that Bayley loses. So I'm curious to see if this is going to be something discussed next week, you know?
Yeah, I agree there.
And then we get into the Grayson Waller effect, who welcomes
The
John
main event.
Cena. Yes.
Grayson Waller main event SmackDown with John Cena.
I know. What is going on? What is
Man,
going on?
I don't know what they're doing.
The A-Town Down Under was dealing with all the legends on SmackDown. So, you know.
That'd be a good pay-per-view filler match. Like a nice right before a big four.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe right before the Rumble or something. You do like a Cena AJ style, like whoever legends, Austin Theory versus and A-Town Down Under versus a Legends group. That would be a really good one because they're both right now doing the disrespect thing.
Yeah.
I love that angle. Going up against Legends, boom, pushes everybody up.
Agreed. So he welcomes John Cena out. And before that, he was calling him the GOAT, but then basically just proceeded to insult him and say how his star power has been fading like his hairline. And I was like,
The comment about his hat was my favorite.
I know.
Oh, that was so
when I'm
well
talking
done.
When I'm talking to adults, I take my hat off.
Yeah.
Because that's how my
grandmother
taught me.
My grandmother taught me.
Yeah, and I was like, oof,
so good.
Oof. And I think it's funny when Cena just like gets all mad, you know, because he's not letting him talk. You know, tells him how he wasn't a good host at Payback, and Cena just starts stripping. And then it's like I wanted Grayson to say something because he kind of did. He was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. But it was more so about like he's getting, you know, worked up. But I was like, say something about him taking off his clothes, like, because why are you stripping in the middle of my show? What is going on?
Get ready for a fight.
Yeah. But we do see that Jimmy Uso, I like his song, by the way. I really like his music.
Very bloodliney.
I like it though. So he decides that no, I'm coming out again. So he gets in there and says that nobody wants John Cena there, and he dares him to try and embarrass him the way that he did 2 weeks ago, and he gets straight up into Cena's face. But then Solo Sikoa is like, and he comes out and he steps right up to John Cena. But then he sets Jimmy up for the Samoan spike, but then super kicks Cena. Then they all start beating up Cena. AJ Styles comes out. And essentially, this is what it's going to be. With Roman gone until November or later, obviously this is setting up Jimmy and Solo versus AJ Styles and John Cena at Fastlane, I'm assuming, to be a filler for Roman deciding that he doesn't want to actually earn a paycheck instead of, you know, just getting it for free.
Get paid. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, you know, it is what it is. It's like, yeah, I'm excited because it's like AJ Styles and John Cena teaming up. Okay, but I'm just kind of like, like I'm not like super excited about it because AJ and Cena don't really have like deep rooted issues with the bloodline other than AJ just having a match and then just like being attacked by like Solo and Jimmy and then the Judgment Day, but it's nothing like other than that. And Cena is just like, I'm so mad at Jimmy for interrupting me. Like,
you don't disrespect your elders.
But like, you know, I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm being honest.
I don't know. I have an idea, but it's so vague at the moment that I don't want to stumble my way through it. All I can really come up with is that they're trying to connect things. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get as many people that are semi-connected with the bloodline together so that we have a big payoff and that there's more of a clear picture of when this is going to eventually end and everyone can, you know, go back. I kind of, for all my fellow Marvel nerds out there, I'm still getting in the mix of it. I had to take a low-key hiatus from it because of wrestling and football. Those are two things got to keep up with, and Marvel is too. But after watching it and now getting into this, I see a lot of similarities with how they did the Avengers series and how they're forming. They form them, then they form who the villain's going to be, you know, what the angle, like, and they build it into a series. And that's what I see the bloodline as right now, where they are the protagonist, the focal point of the whole story. But you do need an AJ Styles in that mix. You do need a John Cena. You even need a Grayson Waller as well. You need these kind of side characters, supporting characters there, because it's not only going to help the story, but then once it ends, then they can go off and do their thing and take that, and maybe they get over and develop something. So it's all about keeping the wheels in motion there, so that there's always something in the pipeline. And by having so many different supporting role players in this, that you have a lot of things in the pipeline and different avenues you can go down, when it's like, all right, we got to wrap the story up. We have nothing after it. Let's throw something at a wall, and if they have good chemistry, boom. That's it. Like, it's all about just building that, and it seems like that's what they're doing with, Solo and Cena. I've seen the Umaga thing. Like, they're going that deep with the connections, so go into it. Make it as much as possible.
Do you think it's going to be John Cena as the real tribal chief?
No.
I'm joking.
Yeah. I figured, but
John Cena is actually the real tribal chief. He's actually 100% Samoan. So
he's Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Peacemaker and Black Adam. That would be cool. They're both in the DCU verse.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
But anyway, that was Smackdown.
That was Smackdown. See, that was all right. I've talked it out. We sat on down. We talked it out. That's what Smackdown Breakdown's all about. Hey, you know what, Sarah? You're wicked smart. If anyone gets that reference, god damn it,
I feel like you're being rude right now.
Oh, I'm quoting Blue's Clues.
Okay. Interesting.
Sat on down. We figured it out.
No, that's not right.
That's all about.
Nope, that's not how it goes. I told you already. That's wrong.
Oh, is it? Am I singing Joe's version of it?
Yep.
Oh, that's why. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, I getting back on track. I would give it I would seriously give it an 8.5. I really thoroughly enjoyed this episode of SmackDown.
I'd probably give it a 7.
Boo.
Well, I mean, the first half hour was good, but I felt I don't know, some of it was good, but I wasn't overly excited about everything. But at the same time, I see spoilers before I watch it, so it's kind of when I actually do watch it, it's not as exciting. You know what I mean? Because I'm I already know everything that happens.
That's true. Do you think they should have started with Rock McAfee and kicking it off that way? That I thought was a bold move. That would be the only thing
yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that it's it was an easy way to draw people in, because they knew that it was going to kick off social media,
Yeah.
And so then that was going to get people to tune in. But then I think that it sets such a high standard that the rest of the show just can't keep
live up to it.
Yeah. And so I think that's why sometimes, it's kind of what happened at Payback with Trish and Becky in the cage match. Probably the best match of the night. And they started it with and then it's okay, and then someone has to come after that. It's it's really hard to top that, or even to just be equal with it. And so I think that kind of is why, for me, I think there was so much happening at the beginning that it was ooh, exciting, and then the rest of it was okay, yeah, I was interested in Finn and AJ and LA Knight, but it was because it wasn't you already feel you got that excitement in the first 25 minutes or whatever it was. So yeah, but it's hard to say. I don't know.
It was good. It was okay, nice.
Yeah.
So that was SmackDown, and yeah, that's all I really got. I'm excited for it's. I'm trying to think of anything I need to bring to the attention of the peeps before we wrap up here. Oh, if you watched our show yesterday, the Thursday show that happened to be on Friday.
Oh yeah, did you do the NWF last night?
I'm making an announcement about it. So I was effing exhausted. Okay, it has been transparent. It has been a busy week at work. So I was like, you know what? I really want to put all my effort and like good effort into this. So I wanted to do it when I'm off. And I'm off starting right now. I'm off from work for the next 2 days. So my plan tomorrow, okay, important. I'm going to be doing the NWF tomorrow before NFL football. I didn't want to do it maybe during the day, tomorrow or Monday, but I'm like, you can't. Let's get up at the ass crack, and by that I mean 8:00. We'll get going. We'll have some breakfast. Enjoy your morning, your Sunday morning, with some Smackdown and shenanigans. I'm just gonna go through it. You're gonna sit with me watching this whole nonsense wrestling federation unfold while we get ready for Sunday football. I think that's the best way to do it. Come hang out in the NSN. And Bernard, you know what? I don't have.
Well, oh yeah, I meant to respond to his message about that.
I play fantasy. I have to do a DFS lineup. I have not done one yet this year, and I feel weird that I haven't. It's one of my favorite things to do during the NFL season. So yeah, come hang out with me tomorrow in the morning. I will tweet out the actual time, probably around like 10, 11 o'clock, hopefully like 10ish, Eastern Standard Time. And we're just going to watch some nonsense wrestling, talk football, and anything else you want to talk about in the chat section or whatnot. Twitch.tv/Nonsense Sports Network. We got a great card, Sarah. Like, really good card. We're starting out with Ilya Dragunov. All right? Like, he's actually taking on the LWO.
Oh.
Or one person from them. I don't know which one they booked, but I was looking over the match card today from my creative team, and I liked what I saw so far. That I'm just like, yeah, you guys run with it. I got a good team over on SmackDown, Sarah.
Okay.
I don't know about you over on Raw, but my team on SmackDown, we have a fun time. We have a good roster.
It's interesting. It seems like it's the same people.
No, there's different personalities up there.
Okay. The different voices in my head.
Was in my head. He was telling me to say. All right, I'm listening to them today. We're getting off track. Go do what I said and tune in with me tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button as well. Leave a comment about what your favorite part of SmackDown was, and check out our clips from the other shows from the past week. We broke down a lot of wrestling news yesterday, and go check those out. And then we'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind. And we hope to see you there. Thanks for tuning in. And God bless. Remember, you can do it. All you got to do is try. We'll see you tomorrow. Go Pats, baby. Yeah.